Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Anna, and I am very happy to be here with you today. This podcast is for beginners, so we will speak slowly and use simple English. Today, our topic is self-control. Self-control means we can manage our actions, feelings, and habits. It is very important in daily life. For example, we use self-control when we study, eat, or manage our time. I am here with my friend Mark, and we will talk about this topic together. I hope you enjoy listening and learning English with us today.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark. Thank you, Anna, for the introduction. I'm excited to talk about self-control today. It is a very useful topic for everyone. We all need self-control in our daily life. It helps us make good choices and avoid bad habits. Sometimes it is not easy, but we can practice and improve. In this podcast, we will talk about simple examples of self-control. We will use easy words so you can understand well. I hope this conversation helps you learn English and think about your own habits too.
What do you think about self-control, Mark?
Yes, Anna, I agree with you. Self-control is very important, but sometimes it is difficult. I also have moments when I want to relax instead of working, but I try to control myself and finish my tasks first. It makes me feel good after that. I think self-control helps us reach our goals. If we practice every day, we can get better. Even small actions can make a big difference. I am happy to share my experiences and learn from you too.
That's true, Mark. Small actions are very important. We do not need to be perfect. We just need to try a little every day. I think self-control is like a skill. We can learn it and improve over time. Sometimes we make mistakes, and that is okay. We can try again the next day. I also think it is important to be kind to ourselves. If we are too strict, we may feel stressed. So we need balance in our life.
I like that idea, Anna. Balance is very important. If we have too much control, life can feel hard. But if we have no control, we may have problems. So we need a good balance. For example, we can work hard but also take time to rest. We can eat healthy food but also enjoy some treats. I think self-control is about making good choices most of the time. It is okay to relax sometimes too.
Yes, Mark, I agree. Self-control is not about saying no to everything. It is about making good decisions. For example, I try to manage my time better. I make a simple plan for my day. This helps me stay focused and not waste time. Sometimes I still get distracted, but I try again. I think planning is a good way to practice self-control. It helps me feel more organized and calm.
That is a great idea, Anna. Planning is very helpful. I also try to make a plan for my day. I write down my tasks and do them one by one. This helps me stay focused. When I finish my tasks, I feel proud. Self-control also helps me avoid bad habits, like using my phone too much. It is not easy, but I try to limit my time. These small changes help me a lot in my daily life.
I understand that, Mark. Using the phone too much is a common problem. I also try to control that. Sometimes I put my phone away when I study or work. It helps me concentrate better. I think self-control is very useful for students and workers. It helps us use our time well and reach our goals. Even small steps can help us improve.
Yes, Anna, that is very true. Self-control is useful for everyone. It helps us in school, work, and daily life. We can start with small habits and improve step by step. I think it is important to stay patient. Change takes time. We should not give up if it is difficult. I hope our listeners can learn something from our conversation and try to practice self-control in their life.
Thank you, Mark. I think this is a great start to our topic. We talked about what self-control is and why it is important. I hope our listeners can understand and feel interested. In the next part, we will talk about simple examples of self-control in daily life. This will help you learn more useful expressions and ideas.
Yes, Anna, that sounds great. Dear listeners, thank you for listening to our introduction. We hope you enjoy this topic and learn new English words. Now we will move to part 1, where we talk about daily examples of self-control. Please stay with us and continue listening. Let's begin the next part of our podcast now.
Let's start part 1 and talk about simple examples of self-control in daily life. For me, one example is waking up early. Sometimes I want to sleep more, but I try to get up on time. It is not easy, especially on cold mornings. I tell myself I need to start my day. Another example is studying. Sometimes I feel lazy, but I try to sit down and study for at least a short time. Even 10 minutes is okay. These small actions are part of self-control. They help me stay focused and do what I need to do every day.
That is a great example, Anna. For me, self-control is also important when I use my phone. I like to watch videos and check social media, but sometimes I spend too much time. So I try to limit my phone use. For example, I do not use my phone when I work or study. I put it away and focus on my tasks. It is difficult at first, but it becomes easier with time. This small habit helps me be more productive. I think many people have this problem, so it is a good example of self-control.
Yes, Mark, I have the same problem with my phone. Another example for me is eating. I like sweet food, like chocolate and cake. Sometimes I want to eat a lot, but I try to stop myself. I tell myself to eat a small amount. This is not easy, but it is important for my health. I think food is a common situation where we need self-control. We can still enjoy food, but we need to be careful. This is a good way to practice self-control every day.
I agree, Anna. Food is a good example. I also try to eat healthy food during the week. Sometimes I want fast food, but I try to choose better options. Another example is exercise. After work, I often feel tired and want to rest, but I try to go for a walk or do some exercise. Even a short walk is good. It helps my body and mind. Self-control helps me choose what is good for me, even when I don't feel like doing it.
That is very true, Mark. Exercise is a great example. Another situation for me is time management. Sometimes I want to watch TV or relax, but I have work to do. So I try to finish my tasks first. After that, I can relax without worry. This makes me feel better. I think self-control helps us use our time wisely. If we always choose fun first, we may have problems later. So it is important to balance work and rest.
Yes, Anna, time management is very important. I also try to follow a schedule. I plan my day and do my tasks step by step. Sometimes I do not want to follow the plan, but I try my best. Another example is saving money. When I go shopping, I sometimes want to buy many things, but I ask myself, do I really need this? This helps me spend less money. Self-control helps me make better decisions with my money.
That is a very good point, Mark. Saving money is also part of self-control. I try to do the same. Before I buy something, I think carefully. Another example is emotions. Sometimes I feel angry or upset. In those moments, I try to stay calm and not say bad things. It is not easy, but I try to take a deep breath and think first. I think self-control is not only about actions, but also about feelings. It helps us have better relationships with others.
I agree, Anna. Controlling emotions is very important. Sometimes I feel stressed or angry, but I try to stay calm. I may take a short break or go for a walk. This helps me feel better. Another example is talking. Sometimes I want to interrupt others, but I try to listen first. This is also self-control. It helps me communicate better. These small actions can improve our daily life and our relationships with people.
Yes, Mark, listening is very important. I also try to listen more and speak less sometimes. It helps me understand others better. Another example is keeping promises. If I say I will do something, I try to do it. Even if I feel tired or busy, I try to keep my word. This is also self-control. It shows responsibility and respect. I think these small habits help us become better people step by step.
That is a great example, Anna. Keeping promises is very important. I also try to be responsible. If I have work to do, I try to finish it on time. Sometimes I feel lazy, but I remind myself why it is important. Self-control helps me stay on track. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. These daily examples show that self-control is part of many small actions in our life.
Yes, Mark. I think we shared many good examples. Self-control is everywhere in our daily life. From waking up early to managing our emotions, we use it all the time. I hope our listeners can understand these examples and think about their own habits. Maybe they can try one small change today. It can make a big difference over time.
That's right, Anna. Small changes can lead to big results. I hope our listeners learned some useful ideas and simple English expressions. Talking about daily examples is a great way to practice English. Now we are ready to move to part 2. In the next part, we will talk about how to improve self-control and build good habits. Let's continue our conversation together.
Now let's talk about how to improve self-control. For me, one helpful way is to start with small goals. I do not try to change everything at once. For example, if I want to study more, I start with just 10 or 15 minutes a day. This feels easy and I can continue. Another way is to make a simple plan. I write down my tasks for the day. When I see my plan, I feel more focused. These small steps help me build good habits slowly. I think anyone can try this and improve little by little.
That is a very good idea, Anna. Starting small is very important. For me, another way to improve self-control is to remove distractions. For example, when I study or work, I put my phone in another room. This helps me focus better. I also try to create a good environment. I keep my desk clean and quiet. This makes it easier to concentrate. I think our environment can help or stop our self-control, so we should make it simple and comfortable for work and study.
Yes, Mark, the environment is very important. Another way I improve my self-control is by making a routine. When I do the same things every day, it becomes a habit. For example, I study at the same time every evening. At first, it was hard, but now it feels normal. I do not think too much. I just do it. This helps me save energy and stay consistent. I think routines are very helpful for building good habits and improving self-control.
I agree, Anna. A routine makes things easier. Another tip is to reward yourself. When I finish my work or reach a small goal, I give myself a reward. It can be something simple, like watching a short video or eating a snack. This makes me feel good and motivates me to continue. I think rewards are helpful because they make hard tasks more enjoyable. We just need to keep the rewards small and not overdo them.
That is a great idea, Mark. Rewards can make a big difference. Another way I improve my self-control is by thinking about my goal. For example, if I want to be healthy, I remember this when I choose my food. It helps me make better decisions. I also try to stay positive. If I make a mistake, I do not feel too bad. I just try again. I think a positive mind is very important when we want to change our habits.
Yes, Anna. Thinking about your goal is very helpful. I also try to remember why I want to change. Another method I use is to take breaks. If I work for a long time, I feel tired and lose focus. So I work for a short time, then take a short break. This helps we stay fresh and continue. I think working too much without rest is not good. Balance is very important for self-control and good performance.
I agree, Mark. Breaks are very helpful. Another tip is to ask for support. Sometimes I talk to my friends about my goals. They support me and give me advice. This makes me feel stronger. It is easier to stay focused when someone understands you. I think we do not need to do everything alone. Support from others can help us improve faster and feel more confident.
That is a very good point, Anna. Support is important. I also think it is helpful to track your progress. For example, I write down what I do every day. When I see my progress, I feel proud. It motivates me to continue. Even small progress is important. It shows that we are moving forward. This can help us stay consistent and not give up.
Yes, Mark, tracking progress is a great idea. It helps us see our improvement. Another thing I do is keep things simple. If my plan is too big, I feel tired and stop. So I keep my goals small and clear. This makes it easier to follow. I think simple plans are better for beginners. They help us build strong habits step by step.
I agree, Anna. Simple is always better. Another tip is to be patient. Self-control does not improve in one day. It takes time. Sometimes we feel slow, but that's okay. We should keep trying. I think patience is very important. If we continue, we will see results in the future.
That is very true, Mark. Patience is key. I think we shared many useful ways to improve self-control. Starting small, making a routine, taking breaks, and staying positive are all helpful. I hope our listeners can try these ideas in their daily life. Even one small change can make a difference.
Yes, Anna, this was a great discussion. I hope our listeners learned something useful and easy to understand. Improving self-control is possible for everyone. We just need to take small steps and keep going. Now, we are ready to move to part 3, where we will talk about challenges and how to deal with them. Let's continue together.
Now let's talk about challenges in self-control. For me, one big challenge is feeling lazy. Sometimes I do not want to do anything, even simple tasks. On those days, it is very hard to follow my plan. I just want to stay in bed or watch videos. But I try to start with a very small action, like standing up or opening my book. After I start, it becomes easier. I think the hardest part is the beginning. If we can start, we can continue. This is my way to deal with lazy feelings.
I understand that, Anna. I also feel lazy sometimes. Another challenge for me is stress. When I feel stressed, I want to avoid my work. I may watch videos or eat snacks instead of working. It is not a good habit. So I try to manage my stress first. I take deep breaths or go for a short walk. This helps me feel calm. After that, I can focus better. I think it is important to understand our feelings and deal with them before we try to control our actions.
That is a very good point, Mark. Understanding feelings is important. Another challenge for me is distractions. For example, when I study, I sometimes check my phone again and again. It breaks my focus. To solve this, I put my phone far away or turn it off. It is a simple action, but it helps a lot. I think removing distractions is a strong way to improve self-control. We need to make it easier to focus and harder to get distracted.
Yes, Anna, distractions are a big problem. Another challenge is losing motivation. Sometimes I feel excited at the beginning, but later I lose interest. When this happens, I remind myself why I started. I think about my goals again. This helps me continue. I also try to change my routine a little to make it more interesting. For example, I study in a different place or listen to music. Small changes can help us feel fresh and motivated again.
I like that idea, Mark. Changing things a little can help a lot. Another challenge is being too strict with myself. Sometimes I want to do everything perfectly. If I make a mistake, I feel bad and lose motivation. So now I try to be more kind to myself. I accept that mistakes are normal. I just try again. I think self-control is not about being perfect. It is about trying again and not giving up. This makes me feel more relaxed and strong.
That is a very important idea, Anna. Being too strict can make things harder. Another challenge for me is time pressure. When I have many tasks, I feel overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. In this situation, I try to choose one small task and begin. After I finish one thing, I feel better and continue. I think breaking big tasks into small steps is a good way to deal with pressure. It makes everything feel easier and more possible.
Yes, Mark, breaking tasks is very helpful. Another challenge is bad habits. Sometimes we repeat the same bad actions, like eating too much or wasting time. It is hard to stop. For me, I try to replace a bad habit with a good one. For example, if I want to eat snacks, I try to eat fruit instead. This is not perfect, but it is better. I think changing habits takes time, but small changes can help us improve slowly.
I agree, Anna. Replacing habits is a smart way. Another challenge is feeling tired. When I'm very tired, I have less self-control. I make bad choices more easily. So, I try to take care of my body. I sleep enough and take breaks during the day. Good rest helps me think clearly and make better decisions. I think health is very important for self-control. If we feel good, it is easier to control our actions.
That is very true, Mark. Health is very important. Another challenge is comparing ourselves to others. Sometimes I see other people doing very well and I feel bad. I think I am not good enough. But now I try to focus on my own progress. I do not need to be like others, I just need to improve little by little. This helps me stay positive and continue my journey. Self-control is personal, and everyone has their own speed.
Yes, Anna, that is a very healthy way to think. Everyone is different. Another challenge is giving up too quickly. Sometimes we try for a few days and then stop, but real change needs time. I try to remind myself to keep going, even if it's slow. I focus on small progress, not big results. This helps me stay patient. I think consistency is more important than speed. Doing a little every day is better than doing a lot once and stopping.
I agree, Mark. Consistency is very important. We talked about many challenges, like laziness, stress, distractions, and bad habits. These are normal problems, and everyone has them. The important thing is to find simple ways to deal with them. I hope our listeners can understand that they are not alone. We all try and learn every day.
Yes, Anna, this was a very helpful discussion. We shared many real challenges and simple solutions. I hope our listeners feel encouraged and ready to try. Self-control is not easy, but it is possible. With practice and patience, we can improve. Now, we are ready to move to the ending and finish our podcast. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast today. We talked about self-control and shared many simple ideas and examples. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and found it helpful. Remember, self-control is something we can practice every day. Start with small steps and be kind to yourself. You do not need to be perfect. Just try your best and keep going. Thank you, Mark, for this great talk. I really enjoyed it. I hope our listeners can join us again next time. Take care and see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you to all our listeners. It was great to talk about self-control with you today. I hope this podcast helped you learn new words and simple ways to talk in English. More importantly, I hope it helped you think about your own habits. Remember to stay patient and keep practicing. Small changes can make a big difference over time. I also enjoyed our conversation very much, Anna. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you again in our next episode. Goodbye.